My name is Bari Khan, I'm 29 years old, I'm living in Southampton and I work for the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency as a Grade 2 Marine Engineer Surveyor and Auditor. I first applied to go to sea and accepted an oil majors offer in 2006 and studied for 3.5 years at Warsash Maritime Academy on the south coast. I then sailed as a junior officer for about 5 years. It was before I decided to change tack in my career by going back to Warsash to study for the marine engineering degree and then accepting the graduate trainee surveyor program by the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, which I completed this year and passed my surveyor's oral exam at board. When I started at Warsash, and I was very well supported at the time by my company because they put me on extra courses as well. So then after I successfully completed that and moved into the actual main fleet, I then stayed there for about 4 or 5 years, only sailing in the junior ranks whilst understudying for third. But at the time, promotions were very slow in the industry, I think, because of the lack of smart funding. So the support for maritime training was reduced for the higher tickets, and then there seemed to have been a glut of officers both on the engineering side and then the nautical department. And for me, it was disheartening to think that I would struggle to progress because of the amount of excellent officers that are ahead of me right now, and they don't seem to be moving on. So I decided to then change my direction, because I found that there would be more opportunities by making an earlier career shift with the intention to then go back to sea to finish that off. When I was at sea, there was cadets coming through the system. But with promotions being so slow, I think a lot of people just decided to stick it out, or a lot of people would just complain. So not everybody, but a lot of people would complain about the situation, about promotion, about a lack of leave, study leave available, or funding for study leave. But then I decided that I don't want to just talk about it or listen to the complaints. I want to do something. I think at the time people were shocked as to what I was doing, because I'm the chief engineer, couldn't understand it, as to why you would just throw your career away essentially like that. The captain was concerned if there was bullying happening on board and if I had issues, but I had to explain to them that if I'm not happy with where I am right now, then I need to move on and progress in a way which will keep me happy and motivated. It is a bold decision in hindsight, essentially leaving the industry to then go unemployed and to go into higher education. This opportunity arose at the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency as a graduate trainee surveyor, and all those little experiences that I've picked up along the way came back, and I thought, well, let's go and find out what do these guys actually do and how does that actually function. I initially didn't want to take it forward. I wanted to join super yachts because of the money again and the adventure and the lifestyle, but I hadn't finished my degree at the point in time, and there was other friends who told me about the two different friends told me about the graduate training surveyor program. Didn't have any expectations. Yeah. Just wanted to see what it was about, and turned out to have been an absolutely excellent decision, and a transformative decision, and a life-changing decision as well. In terms of my actual higher education degree, I hadn't finished it at the time. I was self-studying on a distance learning program, and during the interview, when I had to explain to them I hadn't actually finished my degree, everybody was quite relaxed about that and accepted me onto the program and allowed me to finish it on the program as well. I think if people are happy with their lifestyle, with their home life as well, and they're happy with where they are on board, and willing to stick it out, so to speak, because it is demanding, both physically, mentally, and that entire environment is, then I wouldn't advocate changing just for the sake of it, if you are genuinely happy with it. But as people progress and times change as well, I would certainly say that if you want to understand the different parts of shipping from everybody's point of view as well, and certainly it's something that the opportunities are there, they are available, and if you can take the risk, then it can pay off very well. I can't, from my immediate experience being on board, that isn't something that I've been exposed to or that I've actually seen. But in terms of talking to other cadets and officers and hearing about their experiences, yes, that is an issue. And it also is an issue for the society that we live in and for governments to address. I think, for me, primarily, the lack of understanding of how to progress to the higher ranks and what that actually means was a stumbling block, which is why I decided to quit early and then to change direction, because without understanding why people are making decisions and the way in which those decisions are being made that affect the ship and affect me directly, or everybody directly because of the way we're operating, isn't explained. So we're on board, we have our gear, you have your equipment, you have your duties, everything's essentially nowadays checklisted to a certain degree, but why it's operating in that manner and what that actually means and the intentions behind it, in my opinion, that's missing, and in my opinion as well, that's also missing from colleges. So I think what was missing for me at the time was actual long-term career progression, how to actually progress to second engineer, as well, not only just the seat time and the academics, but what that actually means, then how to actually progress to chief engineer, and where and how and why are those decisions being made in the way they are. I think the actual education could be improved to help people realise the long-term prospects of the industry. So I'm at the MCA, and there's a lot of opportunities, not only working at as an executive agency of the Department for Transport, but also in the wider civil service and in the public sector, which, coming from the commercial industry and the private sector, it's an interesting comparison to make, and it takes time to get used to the different mindset and operating model. And my intention, personally, is to go back to sea and to obtain my higher tickets and to see how far I can progress in that manner. But how that actually happens is still to be determined. I think the issues about progression and the different actors at play in the maritime industry and what that actually means for people in those environments, I'm not sure if it will be addressed for people coming through the industry, even if they're aware of that or not. But certainly for me, having the opportunity to have seen it from multiple roles and different people's points of view is useful. So that's from, for example, superintendents, ship owners, surveyors from government as well as from a seafarer's point of view, is useful, and it helps me a lot to stay. Helps me a lot, gives me confidence in going back to sea and trying to do a good job. Having the experience to have worked in, for example, policy branches, to have been to the International Maritime Organization, to have worked in survey and inspection in multiple vessels, to have been trained in to have been trained in survey and inspection as well. I think will hold me in good stead for going back to sea, and certainly hopefully trying to progress up to chief engineer as well. I think for me, the advice I'll give to myself, a younger me at the time, would be not to change anything. It can be scary not knowing what's going to happen, but I would tell myself just go for it again.